Pessachim. Today's Amoud is Masechet Amoud Bet. We will be starting from the bottom of Masechet Amoud Aleph. We need Sata Deshmaya to get through this page. Bezrat Hashem. We're speaking about, yes, let's say we have a baby that has to have a Brit Milah. A baby has a Brit Milah on the 8th day of his birth. And even if that 8th day falls on Shabbat Kodesh, even if the 8 days on Shabbos, we still give the baby a Brit Milah, right? You've all been to Britot on the 8th day. B'yom Hashmini, doesn't matter which day. Now what about, and even though that cutting out foreskin and letting out blood is Isur, Shochet, it's Soveya, it's an Isur Doraita to do that. But the Torah tells you this, you got to keep Shabbos, and the Torah tells you got to make a bris. So it's not Chilul Shabbos, it's actually Shomer Shabbat. To do a Brit Milah on Shabbat is Shomer Shabbat. Now what about, okay, so that's the actual cutting. But what about the knife? I don't have the knife. The knife is across the carry. I'm on one side the carry, the knife is at the cross. To carry the knife across the carry is Isur D'Oraita of carrying. Well, Rabbi Eliezer says, the same way you're allowed to cut the foreskin, you're allowed to carry the knife. Anything you need to do to be able to do the Brit Milah is called the Brit Milah. So it's called Machshirei Mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva says no. Rabbi Akiva says anything you could have done yesterday and you didn't do it yesterday, we don't let you do it today. You can't bring the knife. Too bad for you. What about the baby? Your fault. Bring the knife the day before. Rabbi Eliezer says do anything you need. Rabbi Eliezer says if there's no knife across the street, go cut down a tree, get metal, melt it down, and make the knife. You can do 10 melachot to be able to make it. Rabbi Eliezer says get the job done at all costs. Everything you need to do, get it done. You're allowed to. You with me, Chaim? Rabbi Akiva says no, only the cutting. The cutting cannot be done on the 7th day. The cutting has to be on the 8th day, so that you're allowed to do on the 8th day. That's, we said, a general klal of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer allows you to do everything, even called Machshirei Mitzvah. The problem with that is Rabbi Eliezer says, the guy's in the Beit Mikdash, it's the 14th of Nisan, the guy has to bring his Korban Pesach, and he is Tameh, and all you need to do to make him pure is sprinkle on him some little bit of water, and by sprinkling a little bit of water, you purify him, and then he can do his Korban Pesach, and we don't let you do that. Even though we let you shech the animal, and even though we let you sprinkle the blood on the Mizbeach, we don't let you sprinkle the water, which is only a derabanan. It's only a derabanan, there's no problem to sprinkle water. We don't let you do it, and the question is, why does Rabbi Eliezer, and that's Shitat Rabbi Eliezer, why does Rabbi Eliezer not let you do that? Just to be clear why you're not allowed to do that, because if I let you sprinkle the water, next time you're not going to have the water, and the water is going to be across the carry, in the Beit Mikdash, whatever that means, and you're going to bring the water, and you're going to be carrying in the Reshut Rabim. So why, the question the Gemara wants to ask yesterday, why does Rabbi Eliezer allow you to do Machshirei Mitzvah, bringing the knife across the carry for a bris, and he doesn't let you for the Haza'ah of the Korban Pesach? Why does he not let you? And then we give an answer, which we're going to probably today do away with that answer, and we're going to say that Rabbi Eliezer says there's a fundamental difference. The kid that needs a Brit Milah, his body is ready for the Brit Milah. There's an obligation to give it, to circumcise him. Just the thing is, you don't have the knife, so bring the knife. But the guy who has to bring the Korban Pesach, he actually at this moment doesn't have to bring Korban Pesach. At this moment, he doesn't have to bring it because his body is not fit for the Korban Pesach. So it's almost, we're saying, that he is patur from the Korban Pesach. He doesn't have to bring because he's tameh. So to bring you don't have to go bring the water in order to make him fit to be able to bring the Korban Pesach. That's what we said yesterday. We're going to ask a question on that. We're going to give an answer. We're going to ask a question on the answer. We're going to give the real answer. Okay? You guys with me? So at the bottom of the page of Masechet, in this fourth last line, first one line is lo chazi. Okay? Iti ve'abai. So Abai is challenging Rabba. Aren sheloman anosh karet. Let's say you have a person. Don't forget that another person is not allowed to bring a korban pesach. Who is he? He's an aren. A person that has no circumcision is not allowed to bring korban pesach. And don't forget the punishment of not bringing a korban pesach is a karet. If a guy could and doesn't, if he has an obligation and he doesn't bring, the guy's lazy, he's on his couch, he's not bringing korban pesach. You know what the punishment for that guy is? It is a karet of the highest punishments. There is lotaseh, there's makot. There is chayamita, we kill the person, but there he's in a good place. And then there's karet, even there he's in trouble. Karet, not bringing korban pesach is a problem. And the guy is an aren, has a karet. And the Gemara says, Diveri Rabbi Eliezer. Who says? Rabbi Eliezer. One second. The guy who doesn't have a bris, his body is not fit to do a Korban Pesach. And you're still telling me the katane anosh karet, and you're still telling me that the guy gets a punishment. Alma rami chiyuva aleh. Even though his body is not fit for the Korban Pesach, he still has an obligation, because you only get punished if you have an obligation. If you have a person that's not mentally well, he doesn't put tefillin. He has no obligation to put tefillin. He's not healthy. He's patur from mitzvot. So here the aren, if he's patur from it, why would you give him a karet? If he's exempt, why would you give him a punishment? Must be he's not exempt. Must be the svara you told me, the logic you gave me before is not true. Even if the body is not fit, he has an obligation. So why won't you bring the water for the guy that is tameh, that he should really have an obligation? Because here we see that the aren is getting a punishment. Amarava, so here we're going to do a series of things, a few rules, try to get to the answer. And what we're going to do is show there's a difference between circumcision and being impure. The circumcision has an obligation, and the impure person has no obligation. That's what we're going to try to say. At the end, we're going to say it's not true. I'm not trouble if understanding it yesterday. I tried to look it up. I wanted to look it up today, but I didn't have a chance. But I think I understand what it means. Let's say a regular 14th of Nisan. It's not Shabbat Kodesh. It's a regular 14th of Nisan, and the guy is tameh. Okay, the guy touched a dead animal, or it's the 7th day and he touched a dead corpse, and we need to purify this guy. Now, the guy could go to the mikveh. Okay, the guy could get purified after. But what do? Now it's 1 o'clock. It's time for Korban Pesach, and the guy is outside. The guy can't come in because he's tameh. Do we shecht him the Korban Pesach and let him go to the mikveh and then eat it at night, or we don't do that? That's the question. It says and shochatim v'zokin atameh sheretz. No, you wanna bring your korban. You got to go to the mikveh first. Go purify yourself first. Again, not Shabbat, regular day. Go sprinkle yourself. Go put water on you. Go, and then we're going to do a Korban Pesach. But we're not doing it for you that you're going to send it and you're going to be yotzeh. We're not doing that. So therefore, you are exempted from the Korban Pesach. You don't get a Korban Pesach. And what's the rule? V'kol shilu biyachid nidche b'tzibur avde b'tuma. Now, this guy who didn't go to the mikveh, what do we do with him? We push him to the next month. So if you didn't go Korban Pesach, an impure person who didn't go Korban Pesach on the 14th of Nisan, he's allowed to do it on the 14th of Iyar, which is called Korban Pesach Shein. So we're going to put this up. Now, that's the halacha. Now, another rule which we learned before is an individual that's pushed off. If it's a whole community of Tameh people, it's not pushed off. So far, so good. So if one guy, individual, he touched the dead body, he was in Chavra Kadisha, he was burying somebody, he works in the cemetery. Sorry, you're going to do next month. You're going to do next month Korban Pesach. But what about if the whole community was involved in, they touched dead animals, or who knows what? So what do? We actually do the Korban Pesach on that day. It's like we said before many times, it's nitche tuma nitche b'tzibur. Tuma, we push it off for the community, for the congregation. That's why today people want to do Korban Pesach, because we're all tameh, but you can be allowed to bring Korban Pesach. And here's another rule: the kol mita de ita b'tzibur, ita b'yachid. And anything that a tzibur needs to do, well, an individual needs to do. The kol mita de leita b'tzibur, leita b'yachid. And another rule: anything we don't put on the congregation, we don't put it on the individual. These are rules in Korban Pesach. Whatever a community will have to do, an individual will have to do. Whatever a community doesn't have to do, an individual doesn't have to do. So now let's use those rules to bring out halacha. Arelot. So now everybody is not circumcised. Okay? For whatever reason, nobody had a brit. Dikula tzibur arelim ninhu, amrina neukumu mahulu nafshaychu, ve'avde pisra. Now, if everybody is not circumcised, we tell everybody, guys, go get a bris and do Korban Pesach. We're not letting you push it off. When we said before that if a community is impure, we let them do Korban Pesach, that's only for impurity. That's not for non-circumcised people. So the community has the obligation of doing a Brit Milah. So and then we set a rule: anything the community has to do, that the individual has to do.
What's that rule? How do we get to that rule?
That seems to be a klal of Korban Pesach. That's what we said. That's what the Gemara says. We have a Kabbalah. This is our rule in Korban Pesach. The rule in Korban Pesach is anything a community has to do, an individual has to do.
But we don't do it by Korban Pesach. Because when you're at Tzibur, we don't push it off. And when you're an individual, you push it off.
And for what? For the Milah? That's exactly what we're trying to say.
No, for Korban Pesach, you said.
For Tuma. So we're trying to explain. Now, the rules of Korban Pesach. If a community is impure, we allow you to do the Korban Pesach today. If the community is not circumcised, we do not let you allowed to do it. You need to do a circumcision.
That's just by impurity.
By impurity, we push it off. So if we don't, and now, whatever a community has to do, an individual has to do. So if the community has to get a circumcision, so the individual also. Yachinami amrina nikum mahur v'avid pisra. So now we come out that the rule is that the individual has to get a brit milah. We tell you, we prove from here from a series of rules that the guy that's not circumcised, we tell you, sorry Habibi, you got to go get your circumcision. You have an obligation to get a circumcision. You have an obligation of Korban Pesach today, even if you're not circumcised. And if you didn't do it, what you get is a karet. However, Tuma di kula tzibura tmi'in, but the opposite. If the whole community is not pure, ninu lo patu lo madina nainayu and abdu bituma. But if everybody is impure, we don't purify them. We just go ahead and do the Korban Pesach. Yachinami patu, and what is he's patu from sprinkling? So since we don't sprinkle on the community, so we don't sprinkle on the individual. And if we don't sprinkle on the individual, it seems to be he's not obligated to do the Korban Pesach. Because we said that we don't bring the Korban Pesach for the guy that is in state of impurity. So therefore, what did we just do a rule? We figured out the difference for Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, why for a child you can bring the knife to circumcise the child, but you can't bring the water to put it on the tummy guy for Korban Pesach? Answer: because the body of the guy, the baby, he's ready for the bris. He has an obligation. The body of the guy for Korban Pesach no has an obligation, so you don't have to Michal Shabbat for him. Oh yeah, but what about an Arel? We said the Arel gets punished if he doesn't go Korban Pesach, means he has an obligation. Arel is different, because we have a rule. And what's the rule? Well, if a guy's tameh, we don't check the for him. We make him go to the mikveh. If he didn't go to the mikveh, we push him off to the next month. For him, we push him off to the next month, but the community, we don't put off. We do it today. And anything we do for community, we do for an individual. So since the community was sprinkling on them, we don't sprinkle on them. We do it. Let them do it in a state of impurity. So we don't put the obligation on the guy that's tameh. We don't make you sprinkle, and therefore you're patur and do it next month. But the guy who's a tab for the orla, we tell the community, you guys got to do brit. Go do the brit today and do your korban pesach. So if we make the community take a bris, so we make also the individual take a bris, and if we make you take a bris, that means you have an obligation. And if you have obligation, that means if you didn't get the bris, you have a karet. So that it's all based on the rule. Whatever a community has to do, an individual has to do. The Gemara asks a question. Amar Rav Huna bered Rav Yeshua. Your rule seems to be faulty. Because what is Pesach Sheni on the 15th of Iyar? And who does the korbanos over there? Individuals who missed the first one. Community doesn't have to do. So why are you making individuals?
But if it's too much met on days 1 to 6, is it
nothing to talk about? Nothing to talk about.
They don't go.
No, they don't go. Of course they don't go. Because you got to have 7 pure days. So your question is this. Then my answer is Shaneatam. Amar Shaneatam de'avad letzibura berishon. Yeah, the difference is because the community did the korban pesach on the first Pesach. Meaning, whatever community individual has to do. Korban Pesach Sheni, the community doesn't do it, the individual does. Yeah, but the community already did the first time. It's an extension of the first one. The community needs
komban, and then you do it on.
Exactly, the community did on the 15th of Nisan, so the individual is catching up, but the community did, so it's not a steal. All this, a little bit, one more little twist, and then we're going to get smooth sailing. The problem with this, the whole premise over here was that the guy that we don't check for him the korban. If the guy shows up, he's tameh. The guy Shmuel's outside. He's tameh. Can we bring him the korban? He'll be yotzei his mitzvah. He'll go to the mikveh and then eat it tonight. No, we don't. We don't bring it. You're patur, buddy. Sorry, you're patur. And you're patur, and you don't have a karet. Nothing. Don't do it next month. That was our premise. How we got there. We're going to show that that's not true. we're going to show that the guy gets a karas even if we don't bring it for him. Even though we're going to see now that we actually do shechted. Meitive. Yachol lo yeh onesh karet ela shaya tahor v'shelo haya b'derech rechuka. Let's please look at Torah O Shalem, Torah O Shalem, Pasuk Aleph. And here it's speaking about a guy that just through laziness he doesn't bring his korban pesach. The guy's pashut just lazy, he doesn't bring his korban pesach. Va'isha asher hu tahor, the guy that is pure. Ubederech lo haya, and he's not far. He's in his Jerusalem. He's watching TV. His feet are up on the foot. What's it called? The footrest. And he's just lazy. Forget about korban pesach. That's what it is. Aish asher hu tahor. He's pure. He could come. Ubederech lo haya, and he's not far. V'chadar nasot pesach, and he just doesn't do korban pesach. What happens? V'nichita hanefesh hahu me'amea. That guy gets a karet. So lazy, come do your mitzvah. He gets a karet. Now we go back to our Gemara. Meitive. Yachol lo ye'anesh karet eresh haya tahor v'shelo haya b'derech rechuka. Okay, so that's only the guy that gets karet. Aren, what about a non-circumcised guy? It's not written in the pasuk that he gets karet. And we just proved this before, that a guy that's not circumcised, if he doesn't go to do the brit and he doesn't do it, he gets a kares. And look what it says also, v'tamesheretz, or the guy that's impure, v'shar kol hatmeim, minayin. And what about a guy that's impure? He didn't do his korban pesach. What happens with him? He's impure. Does he get a kares? He could go to the mikveh. Talmud omar ha'ish. Yeah, you see the word that says ve'ha'ish. It didn't need to say that. That's a superfluous word. It's an extra words. It could have just say the guy asher hu tahor. It didn't have to say ve'aish. The ish is adding. The Torah does that many times. Instead of listing everything, it keeps it short and sweet. The Bar Koreh will finish in time, and we do codes to add extra words. It's a ribui. Ve'aish. It's including the guy that's non-circumcised, and it's including the guy that is a tamesheretz. The guy that is tameh gets a what does he get? He gets a karet. He gets a punishment. Look at the logic now. Now, since the pasuk's looking for a guy that's tameh, kasavar en shochatim v'zorkin al tameh. It must be that this opinion is that we don't shecht it for him. We don't shecht it for him. The ish shochatim v'zorkin al tameh sheretz lama li ladure aleya haynu tahor.
Alma.
Tau, Hainu Tau, Alma, therefore. I need 1 second to think this out. The Gemara is looking to find the punishment for the guy that is Tameh. 1 second. Did we shecht it for him or we didn't shecht it for him? If we shechted it for him, and then he goes to the Shechianu. Here's what it means. If we shechted it for him, let's hear Shechianu.
Amen.
Now nitatef.
Amen.
Did you have in mind the Shechianu for the building also? Let's think about this. יש שתי דעות בזה. יש כמה דעות בזה. כן, יש בדעות. But יצא ידי חובתה.
What should I have done?
Probably you should have done the tatef first
And then Shechianu.
But some say it's a hefsek in the middle, so there's two opinions. He's yotzeh. Okay, now we're trying to find a guy that's kares. You know which guy is karet? The guy that's tameh, and he's tameh. 1 second. Did we shecht it for him? Or we didn't shecht it for him. If we shecht it for him, and then he goes to mikveh, he's tahor. So that's not a tameh guy. That's a guy that we brought his korban pesach, and for whatever reason, I need to do the Rashi. La tuyeh mikra. יתרה, שמע מן הסביר עלי, להי תנא, אין שוחטים וזורקין את המשרץ. דסביר לשוחטים וזורקין עד למה לי להדורי עלי מקרא יתרה. לכתובי ממילא הוא עומד בכרת, שהרי הוא בכתאו גמור, שראוי לעשות פסחו על ידי שליח לשולחו באזהרה. דקבתה קרא מכרת, הנח דלא יכול לעשות פסח. If we're shechting for the guy, if we allow you for a guy outside to do, basically we're saying like this, the guy's outside, he's tameh. Do we shecht it for him on the inside? Well, if you say that we shecht it for him on the inside, that means he could do it even on the outside, and he didn't do it, Well, that's just the same as a regular tameh. I'll explain. If a guy that's a regular guy is tar. If a guy is tar, he's lazy. He could come into Beit Mikdash and he doesn't do it. What does he get? A kares. Okay. Now we're looking. A guy's tameh, we also give him a karet. This is the last hard part. The guy's tameh, we also give him a karet. What are we talking about? Do we allow to shecht for the guy that's outside and do it on the inside and just do the mitzvah for him? Well, if you say that we do allow it, then why would you looking for some extra reason to make him a kares? He's for sure chayav kares. Why? Because what's the difference between a guy that could come in and do it by himself and a guy that could send it with his friend to do it by himself? If you could do it and you don't do it, you're chayav kares. So the fact that the Gemara is looking for a way to find chayav on a guy that is tameh must mean we don't even allow his korban to come in, and we still give him a kares. One more time, a guy that doesn't bring his korban pesach is chayav karet.
You can't really go further. You're trying to go a further step. We're trying to make him chayav when he's able to do it.
No, when he's not able. So it must be that let's do it one more time.
Able to, and
let's
then
read it
further.
Let's read it one more time. You're going to get it. Va'ish, look, mitive. Yachol lo ye'anash karet ela shaya tahor v'shelo haya b'derech hoka. You think that's the only guy that's chayav karet? Ared v'tameh sheretz v'kol shar tmei minai. How do you know that even a tameh is going to get a kares? You know how? Va'ish. That guy's also. 1 second. Who is that guy? Is that guy able to do his korban or not able? So Shimon is outside, he's tameh. Shimon, I want to come in and do my korban. I'm sorry, you're Shimon, you're tameh, you can't come in. Okay, can I at least send my Johnny's going to bring my korban. He's going to bring in. He's going to do. But do we accept that or we don't accept that? 1 second. If we accept that, so that's the same as a regular guy that didn't do korban pesach. Shimon that could be outside and send it with Johnny doesn't do it, gets a kares. Why do you need to tell me that? That's the same as Johnny that could come, Shimon that could come in and doesn't do it, he's chayav kares. So that can't be what you're talking about. Because then the Torah wouldn't try to look for a reason why he's chayav. That's a regular case. Ella, look what it says. Let's read that in the Gemara. Lama li de'i umidika me'ader atameh sheretz kasvar en shochatim v'zokin al tameh sheretz. It must be, we're talking that Shimon, we don't let you give it to Johnny. Because if you would give it to Johnny, dia shochatim v'zokin, if he could give it to Johnny, al tameh sheretz, lama li la'adurei alea. Why would you try to find a way to make him chayiv? For sure he's chayiv. Ta'or, hainu ta'or. He's for sure, it's the same as ta'or. Alma, afagav de lo chazeh, chiyuva aleya. Even though he's not able to bring it, he's not, Johnny, Shimon, we don't let you give it to Johnny, we're not bringing it. And we still give him a karet. If we give him a karet, that means that even though he's tameh, he has an obligation. And therefore, we see over here that even though the community doesn't have to sprinkle and purify, Shimon does need to. Now we go back to square one. We have a big problem with Rabbi Eliezer. It's smooth sailing from here, but let's just review the question. Rabbi Eliezer, when the child needs to get a bris, we let you bring the knife from across the street. When Shimon is tameh and he wants to do his korban pesach, we don't let you sprinkle on it from across the street. Why not? We gave an answer that because the baby's ready for bris, he has a chiyuv on him, and the tameh guy doesn't have a chiyuv, he's tameh. We just prove he does have a chiyuv. How do we prove that it has a chiyuv? Because if he doesn't do it, he gets a karet. You can only get a karet. You're right, but you're not the guy we give Pesach Sheni. You're a negligent guy. Go to the mikveh and bring your korban Pesach. I'm going to do Pesach Sheni. I'm going to go to the mikveh. There's so many people. The guy doesn't want to go to mikveh in Uman. Come on, go to the mikveh. You know, the mikvehs we have today in Uman are 5-star. Ask David Mann the first mikvehs. Ask him. Black. It was the Mesirat Nefesh of Uman.
Not much.
The
Black and oily. Black and oily.
Okay.
Even worse was before your time. There was only one mikveh.
I was not the mikveh. Which one?
No, the
I was
one
in Kloitz.
No, the one at the bottom of the hill.
Oh, yeah.
There was only one mikveh there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so now the guy go to the mikveh, do your korban pesach. Ella, you know what? So you know why we don't bring it? Listen now. So now you want to know why we don't bring the water for the korban pesach? You know why we don't bring it for the dam? Ella marava kasva Rabbi Eliezer shochatin v'zokin atam sheretz v'odin tamimet. Really, the halacha is we do shecht for him. So we have to go back to square one. We let Shimon's tameh. We let you bring your korban pesach. We're going to shecht it for you. And you did your mitzvah. You did your mitzvah. But we still don't throw the water on you. You know why? And why wouldn't you need to sprinkle it on you? Since you can send somebody else to do it for you, why would we sprinkle the water on you? To let you eat it. You don't really need to eat it. If you didn't eat it, you still did your mitzvah. When you're taking challah on Friday afternoon, you took the challah and you burn it. Your wife makes bread, she's taking challah, and she burns it. No one's eating it. I did my mitzvah. You get the mitzvah of Korban Pesach by shechting it, having it shechted. So when Shimon's tummy outside, we send Johnny in with the Korban Pesach. Johnny shechts it for him. He has his mitzvah and he can't eat it. And even though lichatchila you should eat it, b'diavad you're still yotzeh. Since you got your mitzvah, not the best way, but you got your mitzvah, we're not going to do a chilul Shabbos to bring water to purify you, because you don't need to be purified only to eat it, and you don't need to eat it. So there's no reason for me to do a chilul Shabbos for you to purify, because you can get your mitzvah otherwise. But the Gemara said, yeah, he's going to sit there and he's going to eat some matzah, he's going to eat maror, and you're not eating Korban Pesach, my friend. Sorry, you should have purified yourself. You wait till the last day.
But he's part of the chavura.
Part of the chabura. Amar Ravada, the problem with that, remember we said at the beginning of the last parak, that you have to shecht it only for people that can eat it. And here, Johnny's shechting for the guy that can't eat it, Shimon. There's a difference. When it means that you have to shecht for a guy that if you shecht for a guy that can't eat it, it's possible. It's the guy, if he physically cannot eat it, he's too old, he's sick. He cannot physically. He could eat it, just the halacha doesn't let him. The isser, that's the isser of shechting for a guy that can't eat is a guy that can't physically eat. But if he could physically eat, just the halacha prevents him. That's not an isser, and therefore it's allowed. And therefore the answer is, Rabbi Eliezer, if there's a baby that needs to do a bris, you got to bring the knife. You got to bring it, the knife, because we cannot do the bris without a knife, and the kid needs a bris. But however, do we let the guy? We bring water to purify the guy for his Korban Pesach? No, send it with the shaliach, and you did your mitzvah. So we don't need you to eat it. That's why we don't bring the water. Okay. Now remember, all this was Rabbi Eliezer, smooth sailing now. And what do we say in Rashitad Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva says no. We don't let you bring the knife. We don't let you bring the knife for Brit Milah, and we don't bring you the water for Pesach. And the reason why is, anything you could have done yesterday, too bad for you, you should have done yesterday. Anything you couldn't have done yesterday, that's only today, we let you do. And that's what the Gemara says. Amar Yehuda, Amar Rav, Alakha ki Rabbi Akiva. And the Alakha is like Rabbi Akiva. We follow him. V'tnanami Gabi Mina in Korban Pesach. And also by Bris, we also said the same thing. Ki Agavna. Klan Amar Rabbi Akiva, Kol Menacha, Shefshar Lasota Meruv Shabbat, and Adochet Shabbos. Milah she'efshar lasota meruv Shabbos dochet Shabbat. The same thing with a milah. Milah you could do today, you can't do it yesterday, you do it today. But getting the knife, we don't let you. And Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav alachak Rabbi Akiva. So Rav said twice alachas Rabbi Akiva. He told us in Pesach alachas Rabbi Akiva, and he told us in Brit Milah alachas like Rabbi Akiva.
So wait, you don't do Brit Milah if you forget it.
You better prepare it the day before.
And if you don't, he says you don't.
It's too bad for you. What can I tell you? Maybe if it's a derabanan and there's ways to do it, and bring the baby. I don't know. Figure it out. You got to do it. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself before. Don't wait till last minute.
If it was like old days and there was a lot of traveling and they don't have the way to communicate, how do they do it?
1 second. The baby's born 8 days ago. The baby's right here. Bring. What do you need? A knife in the house? Bring the knife to the house, and the Noah comes. By the way, today the Noah comes. He brings his knife on Friday, and he comes to himself with the day yesterday.
Today, I'm saying like 200 years ago, where it took them 3 days to get there.
3 days to get where?
To the person's bris. If the Moed is like, I want you.
So, father, if you're sending a telegram, so father, prepare me a knife.
Okay.
And by the way, you can do it with all kinds of knives. It doesn't have to be. We use a special knife to make it easier. But okay, the Gemara says, so why is Rav Yehuda why is Rav saying the halakha twice like Rav Yehuda? Why not just say once? Meaning, why is Rav saying twice halakha here like Rabbi Akiva and here like Rabbi Akiva? Say once halakha like Rabbi Akiva for Pesach and Milah. We'll know the halakha. And the Gemara says, tzricha, tiyashmanan gabi Pesach, hatamu de machshirim mitzvah, lo dachu Shabbat, mishum de'i nichitu, mishum de lo nichitu ale 13 britot. You know that when it comes to the Brit Milah, there's 13 different pacts that you're fulfilling. You have 13 contracts that you're signing with Hashem, a strong contract with Hashem, the Brit Milah. 13. So it's so strict. But Brit Milah doesn't have that. So if we would only write the Halakha Pesach, you think, yeah, because it's not so special, the Korban Pesach. Therefore, that's why we can't bring the knife. Avad Milah, Nichitu, Al Yashlosh Britot, Ema Nidche. So if I only teach you Halakha and Korban Pesach, you'll think that bris were allowed to bring the knife because it's such a special mitzvah. V'yashmina in Milah, okay, so just teach me in Milah, and I'll know that I can't do it in Milah, and I know I can't do it also in Korban Pesach. If I teach over there, you know why we don't bring the knife for the Brit Milah? Because there's no karet on the boy. But in Pesach, that you get a karet, you might think that you can bring the knife. That's why we teach it twice. In Brit Milah, there is a karet if you don't do bris. But there's only a karet when you are an adult. Who gets the karet? The adult. So if you have a kid that his parents didn't circumcise him, he gets a karet at 13 or some say 20. When he could do it himself, but a child can't do it himself, so there's no karet. So if I were to tell you in Pesach don't bring the knife, you think Pesach don't bring the knife because it's so strict of karet. But Brit, it's not such a strict punishment, so we'll bring the knife. That's why we need to teach you in two places that the halacha is that you can't bring the knife. Let's just do quickly one more little small thing. And there's interesting halacha that on the 14th of Nisan, next Mishnah, is you have to bring a korban Pesach, but there's actually another korban that you bring. And the second korban you bring is called a chagigat yudalid. It's some say Doraita, some the Drabanan. It's an extra korban you're going to be bringing, and the reason why we're bringing it, very interesting, is we bring it because you have to eat the korban pesach ala sova. You know that? You got to eat really. You got to be full and satisfied, and you have to have finished eating your piece of meat, your korban pesach, and feel, wow, we ate well. But what if there's a lot of people and there's not a lot of meat? We have 30 people on this korban and a small kazayit for each person. What's the guy going to feel at the end of his korban pesach? He's going to feel, wow, I'm still hungry. And the pasuk says, nechal ala sova. So what we do, in order to make sure that you're full, we shech the whole another animal, and you eat it before the korban pesach, and then you eat the korban pesach. That's called the chagigat yudalet. So here, ematai mevi chagiga imo. So when do we bring this extra one? Bizman shuba bechol. It can only be in the weekday. We don't push off Shabbos for this one. Ubitara. If the whole community is tummy, we don't bring it. Ubemuat, only when the amount of meat that you're going to have from your korban pesach is not a lot. But if you have a good fat korban pesach and you have only a few people eating it, you don't need to bring that extra one. Ubizman shuba b'shabbat, or if it's Shabbos, ubemiruba, or if you have a lot of people, or if there's a lot of meat on it, ubetuma and mevino chagia. We don't bring that extra korban. Chagiga ita. This extra ba minatzon, you can bring it from sheep. Minabaka, meaning son is like small animals, right? Sheep, goats, all that. Bakar is bigger animals like bulls and cows. Mina kevasim, you can bring it from sheep. Mina izim, goats. Mina zecharim, males. Mina nekavot, females. Menechad is shnei yamim v'lay nechad. And that's not korban pesach. Korban pesach has to be like a sheep, and you can eat it for 2 days and 1 night. Korban pesach can only be eaten until chatzot. Here you get an extra day. So this extra korban is you're allowed to bring it, but the specifications, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Be'ochim to you.